Texas Board of Education votes to remove Hilary Clinton from their history curriculum. They just want to take her out of history. Can you imagine? Is it because she's a Democrat? Is that why? The Texas Board of Education voted on Friday to remove historical figures, including Hilary Clinton and Helen Keller, from their mandatory history curriculum in Texas schools, according to the Dallas Morning News. The preliminary vote is an attempt by the board to, quote, streamline what students learn in social studies classes, according to the publications. It's funny because you can't really remove them from history. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't erase them from history. A simple Google search will bring them up. So unless the Texas Board of Education can somehow really influence the Google algorithm, I guess it's an uphill battle fighting the removal of certain figures from history, whatever your agenda might be. So you might be able to take it out of the books. But guess what kids have these days? Smartphones, okay? Which is a great empowering tool. So I think your grip on their software is going to be not as tight as you think, Texas curriculum. Jonesy, what do you mean by software? I mean software. We are hardware, our bodies. And the culture and our education and all that shit is the software that we run. Now, you might want to control your child's software that he or she runs, which means, what does that mean? Well, it means, oh, maybe you bring them to church. You're like, I'm trying to load some church software on you. You know? As is the case, this Texas school board is trying to load some software that doesn't have certain things in it. This software has bugs, what I would say. Major bugs, not including certain very important women, by the way, in history. Hilary Clinton, Helen Keller. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with Helen Keller in history? I don't understand that. Maybe the article says something about that. But anyways, you know, you can try to install the software on your kid, but eventually your kid gets hold of a smartphone and chooses his or her own software, which is great. It's a nice freedom that we all have now. We don't have to be kept in the dark. We don't have to be ruled by unquestioning dogma. Removing figures from the curriculum wouldn't prevent teaching about them, but would mean doing so is not mandatory. Oh, okay, so they can still teach about it, but it's not mandatory. All right. So it's not as harsh as I thought it was. The vote on Friday was not final. Amendments can be made to the curriculum before a final vote. It's strange that they vote on this shit. I mean, what a waste of resources. This is what they sit around doing. There's so many problems in the school system, but you're going to spend your time and resources voting on whether or not to teach Helen Keller. I mean, come on. What about? I'm sure there's a lack of artistic programs in your schools. I'm sure there are overcrowded classrooms, but yet you're sitting around school board and arguing about whether or not to teach the history of people who happen to be Democrats or some other. You have this political agenda that you're foisting onto the school system and the populace instead of solving like what is probably real problems in the school system, especially public school. If you've ever been, I've been, and let me tell you something. It's no walk in the park, as we say in Boston, which is where I went to public school. Frickin' Boston, all right? We had overcrowded classrooms. They cut the frickin' music program. I mean, it's like, you know, some schools don't even have sports because, you know, there's not enough funds. Because our government decides to give so much money to military and not to the education system. And now we got kids who have like 60 kids in the class. They get no particular attention. And then, you know, they get these terrible grades and they don't know what to do with their lives. They need, you know, it's like all this shit. Now, Jonesy's on his soapbox right now, but so what? Deal with it, Weird AF fans. I'm right, okay? And even if it's just me, well, I'm a majority of one. What was I? Yeah, oh, I was saying there's other stuff that you should be spending your time on, school board. This is so stupid. Oh my God. Politicians and organizations, it's just nothing ever gets done. Nothing productive, I should say, ever gets done. It's like PETA. It's like, oh man. Clinton was the first female presidential nominee of a major party. Very important. Helen Keller was a deaf and blind woman who graduated from college and became an activist and a writer. Amazing. Why not teach these people? I don't know. You know, it would seem to me that we need more women leaders in our culture. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, we do. Well, how do you get women leaders? Well, you know, maybe teach kids that it's very possible for you to be a woman leader. And let's give you some role models. Role models like Helen Keller. Role models like Hilary Clinton. I'm sure we can name a few others. I mean, maybe some of you disagree with Hilary Clinton, but like the fact remains, she was the first major presidential female nominee. I mean, that's inspiring. That could be inspiring to a young girl who's 7 years old who thinks, oh, why are all the presidents male? Oh, that's not on my menu of life choices because they're all men. No. You should shoot for that. And here's a person who did and nearly got there. You should teach about these women. We need more women leaders. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And one of the reasons why I've constantly, not constantly, and I never have done it on here, I don't think I have on Weird AF News, but I often suggest homeschooling so that you can kind of have a little bit more control of what you're offering your kids. Maybe you can expand the menu of what you can teach your child by doing it at home, and you don't have to suffer the impulses of some squirrely school board that has like these agendas that have to do with politics and sometimes, as in this case, fundamentalist religion, which this article goes on to say. A conservative Christian advocacy group, Texas Values, praised the board's decision. They said, in Texas, you don't mess with the Alamo and you don't mess with our Christian heritage. I don't know how this is messing with your Christian heritage, but whatever. People in Texas are off their rocker, by the way. Off their rocker. I mean, I love my Texas women. Beautiful. But, I mean, some of you, you know. Well, this was kind of a crazy piece, and I think I'm going to get call-ins from this. And I welcome the call-ins. Please do call in. Maybe you have an opinion on this. Maybe you have an opinion about what schools should offer, should not offer. Maybe you have opinions about Texas in general. Maybe you have opinions about homeschooling. I would love to hear from you. Weird AF News has a phone number, if you don't know, if this is your first time listening, and it's 646-450-2012. Please call in. Email me, funnyjones@gmail.com. DM me, @funnyjones on Twitter and Instagram. Or hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up, as the kids say. It's facebook.com/comedianjonesy.